Welcome to Sip, Sell, Repeat, the real estate podcast for women who know success is best served with a great cup of coffee or a well-earned glass of wine. I'm Dr. Cynthia Tant, your go-to real estate expert, here to help you navigate the market with strategy, style, and a little bit of fun. Whether you're flipping your first property, scaling your portfolio, or just dreaming about your next big move, this is the place for you. So grab your drink of choice, settle in, and let's sip, sell, and repeat our way to success. Let's get started. Welcome, Becky from Lady Landlords. It's a pleasure to have you on with Sip, Sell, and Repeat in real estate. And I'd like to get you to tell us a little bit about yourself briefly, and then we can start really getting into the nitty-gritty part.
Sure. I am originally from New York, so if I talk fast, just remind me to slow down. Otherwise, I currently split my time between New York and the Dominican Republic. I hate winter, so started moving down there to do whatever I could to never have to see snow again. It's been going rather well. My background's in cancer research. I did that for about 15 years. I took a hiatus for a point in time, actually moved over to Spain. I used to have a tour company in southern Spain, expanded into Portugal, bought a bar in Portugal, ended up having a bus going back and forth, taking tourists between the two countries, made a really bad business decision buying that bar, lost everything, moved back to the United States and had to rebuild. And luckily, I found real estate along the way.
That's exciting. I always wanted to own a bar too, but thank you for that advice. I don't think I'll be taking it.
I realized that I liked being on the other side of the bar much more.
My whole point was, hey, I'd like to own the bar so I don't have to buy the drinks. But since you have to do all the work,
didn't really balance out well.
Didn't work out so well. So let me ask you a question. What inspired you? Obviously, you've had a lot of things happen in your life, but what inspired you to get into real estate investing? And then how did you get that first property?
Sure. I'll be honest, I hate when people ask me how I got started in it because I always have to admit that my husband was right. And it's just not the way that I like to kick things off. I honestly never thought I would even buy like my own home. I really like traveling. I like being able to move. I wanted to live in a bunch of different countries. That was my goal. I met my husband when I moved back to the United States in 2013. He had actually immigrated from the Dominican Republic to the United States when he was 18. Very much wanted that American dream, home ownership, clearly a big part of it. He said to me, and I think it was 2017, hey, you're still in all this debt from losing this bar in Portugal. You have a horrible credit score. I want to start thinking about marriage, family, all that stuff, but you have no money, but I want to buy a home. So I said, okay, fine. I went through a whole financial literacy awakening, got myself out of debt, improved my credit score, was able to save for a down payment. And then I said, okay, yeah, I'm in the position to buy real estate, but I don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck. So what can we do now? So I said that I came up with the idea that we should buy a multifamily, live in one side, rent the other out. And he was just perfectly happy to be able to get any type of home. So we started with that. And once we got that check from our tenants, even at that first closing, I was like, this is fantastic. We have got to do this again. I was absolutely hooked from the beginning.
That's like how it evolved with my brother and I. We both had jobs. We had money. We had good credit. So we didn't start from that. We found a woman who was a real estate investor, also as a realtor, who just said, buy this. And we went, okay, which was the best decision we ever made. But don't buy 10 properties in a 3-month period of time. That was like that. Now that was way back in 1994, 95. So it was very different price points back then. So we were able to really secure a lot of property and got into our role too. Can you share the story behind how you started Lady Landlords and then how's it evolved since you started it?
Sure. So I didn't start that when I first started investing. We bought our first property in 2018 and we kept buying at least one multifamily property in New York a year. But when all of a sudden now, if you think all the way back to March 2020, right?
Okay.
Time a lot of us remember and we'll never forget, unfortunately.
Yes.
March 2020 came around. We had already owned quite a few properties by that point in time. My husband, as many other Americans did, got laid off. His job just closed. He comes home disappointed, sad, and he's, babe, we're down an income stream. What are we going to do? And my response was, we're going to go buy more real estate. And he's no. I lost my job. We lost money. Like, buying real estate's not what we can do right now. And I'm like, yeah, actually we can. We've already replaced your income. So we actually don't really need you to work. So we'll be fine right now. But this is exactly why we can't count on corporate America to take care of us. We need to do something ourselves. To be honest, he just walked away from me, was just, nope, this is nutso. You're not understanding me. So I said, fine, I'm going to find other people that think like I do. So I went on to Facebook. I started a Facebook group called Lady Landlords. To be honest, I thought it would totally just be me and maybe my mom hanging out in there, but I was wrong. We started to have hundreds of women joining us every single day. We still now, 5 years later, have a little over 50,000 members. We get about 1,000 new members every single month.
That's
and
amazing.
It just showed me that there are other women out there that realize that we need more than just a job these days.
That's totally amazing, and how interactive and everything. First off, a Facebook group is, and with women helping other women as we have better, I want to say better, different communication skills. How's that?
Correct. And we have a unique set of skills as well.
Oh, true. And sometimes they're not understood very well by others.
No.
Anyways, what are some of the challenges that women face investing in real estate, and then which are unique to us, and I think unique to us in a sense. And then how has your community helped those women understand those challenges?
Sure. I do this from kind of two different spaces. I feel like you have what I think a lot of women see from an external perspective. Male-dominated industry, they don't have the education, they haven't been in the field a long time. So I feel like there's the hard skills, right? And I remember one of the first, when I was looking to buy that very first property back in 2018, I was interviewing realtors, and I had a friend of a friend put me in touch with another realtor, and I called him during my lunch break, and the realtor said to me, like, that's really great that you're looking to buy a house. Is there a time I can talk to your husband? And I was like, yeah, we could set up like another call. And they were just, and he was just like, no, I want to be able to talk about like budget and monies and like what your financing is going to look like. Women usually just want to make sure that the kitchen is pretty. And
man.
I said back, I was like, did you just say that out loud? And he was like, what? I'm like, did you say those words out loud? I was absolutely shocked. But unfortunately, you still hear that a lot.
Yeah.
We at Lady Landlords, I don't consider us anti-men. I consider us more a female secret weapon, if you will. But I feel like from one side, it's anything new is going to have a learning curve. And then also, if you go to a networking event, for real estate investors, you walk in, there's one woman for every 10 men. And sometimes you're like, are you trying to date me or buy real estate? It's a very funky world. So I feel like from an exterior kind of look, we are a place to get some of that education, to be able to navigate also what it's like then dealing with contractors, which also most likely are going to be men. And then on the other side, I think it's the internal piece. What's interesting is I see a lot of women that can analyze deals better than any other man out there, that understand even construction better than any other man out there, but yet don't always have the confidence to say, I can, one, do this, and two, I deserve success in this. So I feel like a lot of the things that we still do within Lady Landlords is building up both sides of that.
Those are great points to really, both the external and internal, that we all at some point in our lives have felt, and to get into a male dominated traditionally area,
correct.
Traditionally. But having your group and seeing the people, I'm sure you've seen the women really evolve in that group. If there's a lot of communication and everybody sharing. And that's what's really great to see. You mentioned being in the US and New York and in the Dominican. Now, obviously you've been investing in both. How do you handle that international investing? And are there any points that you could offer? Because I've thought about Belize, and I'm still looking at where I may retire to. Been to Dominican actually 3 times the past 3 years. And anyone who may be interested in going in that, what are some maybe points that you may give to them on an international standpoint?
Sure. I think for me, with the way that technology has grown in so many different industries, just as we're sitting here on Zoom recording this podcast, technology has opened so many different doors. So I really do think that leaning into technology, regardless of if you're buying property in another country or even just another state, or sometimes most of my properties are in New York. I invest right outside of New York City. either the Bronx itself or then in Westchester County. But to me, if somebody said, oh, you should go look at a place in Syracuse, to me, Syracuse might as well be in Arizona because it's probably not a place I'm going to be driving to. So to me, if I'm wanting to put together those different abilities to manage my properties from anywhere, I really don't care if the property is across the street from me or if it's in a foreign country. So first part of it is just really getting used to what software programs can I use. Honestly, most of my business, this is what I use, my phone. And I run most of my business from a beach.
Yeah.
Thanks to that phone.
That's true.
There are so many different platforms. You don't have to go see an actual showing. You could do a FaceTime. You could do a Zoom. You're able to connect with other people so much easier, I feel like, these days. I don't go knock on anybody's door. I've never knocked on somebody's door to go collect rent, and I don't ever plan on it. I think the second piece of it is in kind of the old school way, which is really networking. I think real estate is a team sport. You need good people around you. So to me, I have, once again, in my phone, blending the technology now with the team building, I have my go-to person for anything that I need. I have handymen in both places. I have plumbers. I have electricians on speed dial. I have a boots on the ground. I have somebody that if I need them to go open a door, anything like that, you can really just get done by just some pre-planning and making sure to network and find some right people to surround yourself with.
And finding and getting rid of the people who you don't want in your team. That's probably the best advice I've learned. You're trying to help and you're trying to do this, like, why am I doing this?
No.
Gone.
There's an old HR slogan that is hire slow, fire fast.
I know. Yep. I've heard that.
It's the way to go. Exactly what you're saying.
We get killed. I know. I've got a great team right now with the different companies that I have right now. So I love them to death. So if you, what's this? Mentorship. So how much do you feel mentorship and education in real estate, especially for women, is beneficial? And what is your maybe 1-2 recommendation go to besides your own community for the education? Where else are some of the things that you would like to suggest for the ladies out there?
Sure. Listen, mentorship, I think the biggest misnomer with that is all because you work with a mentor does not mean that you're going to be successful. And usually the biggest indicator of not reaching that success, even with a mentor, is what you're willing to put in. Even within our mentorship program, we had, I think when we did the stats for 2024, it was like 85% of members bought at least one property within their first 6 months. The first question is then what happened to the other 15%? They didn't show up. They didn't follow the steps. They didn't learn any. They didn't follow through with what they said they were going to do. If you don't go look at a house or you don't make an offer on a house, you're not going to buy a house. That's just literally 1 + 1 is 2 here. I think that depending on a person's goals and what they want to do, mentorship could be the right thing. I think the whole idea of working with somebody that's been there, done that, is to save you time, to save you energy, to save you money, save you from making mistakes, which is time and money, and all those different things. But I really feel like it's reserved for the people that are actually dedicated and saying, I want this change. And you know what? This is a change that I'm willing to do, sacrifice, that I can't eat, sleep, breathe without realizing that there's more potential in my life. I feel like real estate is not it can be a side hustle. You can absolutely do it alongside another job, another W-2, but real estate is not a hobby. I feel like you're either in it or you're out of it, unless you have a ton of money and are okay losing it. Then sure, make it a hobby.
Most of us don't. Yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah. But for the average American, if you're going to do something, go ahead and do it. You can absolutely go, and I'll answer the second part of your question here. There are tons of podcasts. There are tons of Facebook groups. There are tons of YouTubes, webinars, all those different things. I will say none of those webinars or podcasts is going to say, hey, Sally, here's the answer specifically for you of what you should do. You're never going to find that. But if you want to sift through all that material, you can find your answers there. But what is the trade-off of time and money within that?
I have tried with many people through the years to direct them in that way. And I always like to refer to people too as a paralysis by analysis.
Right. Very
How many people do you know that have taken every course, everything, time and money put in it, and they just won't buy the first property?
Right.
No matter what you tell them, no matter how you direct them, no matter the information you're able to give them, it's just like they don't take that first step.
Right.
And That's exactly what you said. And so I appreciate that information, because I think the way you're stating it and putting it in there is that we all have, it's, I love, as being a realtor for as long as I've been a realtor and a broker, is that people have the misconception that us real estate agents don't do anything for the amount of money we make. I go, are you kidding me? So we're not going to talk about that right now, but it's just a situation where a lot of us find ourselves in. And as a former college professor and a PhD, people say to me, why did you leave teaching? I said, because I started real estate investing. Right. And that was my journey to becoming an education in real estate. And so I feel that's like getting people to see the bigger picture of what real estate really can do for them.
Even within that, just to address your point, I know you don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but as you're saying, yes, we absolutely see so many people that are saying, oh, why am I really giving part of this money to a realtor? And I get that question a lot in Lady Landlords. People ask me all the time, like, when am I going to go get licensed and stuff like that? And my answer is always never. To me, I'm going to be an expert as a real estate investor, but that means I'm going to have an expert realtor. I'm going to have an expert lender. What am I going to do? Go to law school to become my own attorney? No, thank you. I have an amazing realtor. And let me tell you, that man earns his money with the things that he's had to go through or answer or negotiations. And we've done about $3.5 million of real estate transactions over the past 6 years together. I think he's pretty happy with what he's doing. And I got to say, I'm completely happy with his services. I'm going to be an expert in what I do. And then I'm going to find and partner with the experts around me.
That's the other thing that you brought up, was that team. Because a lot of people getting started, they think they have to do it all.
And know everything.
And know everything. Exactly. Right. Because, and that's the hardest part, is no, you don't. It's like, you're not going to go to, let's say, a dentist to ask about the brain surgery that you have to have. It's just, there's no comparison there. And a last question here, because this has been just amazing, a lot of information. I really thank you for sharing with us. But what strategies would you have, or how you could tell people once they get into the real estate investing, how to maybe scale their business, to not just have the one or two like you said, whether you're getting one or two properties a year or whatever, how do you get those points across that, like you said, it's a long haul, unless you have a lot of money, and if you can lose it, great. But most people don't have that. So what are some strategies that you'd like to share with the group here?
Sure. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is that they get one or two properties in, and then they go, oh, how should I scale this now? No, we need to think about it at the beginning, right? Because I feel like people make a lot of mistakes in their first or second properties that actually could have set them up better to be able to scale down the line. Now, I get it. Maybe you had your own home. Now you moved in with your partner. You rented out your home, right? Maybe you inherited a property. Fine. You fall into that accidental landlord type space. That's okay. But if you're going into this saying, hey, I'm now ready to grow a portfolio, you need to sit down first and think about what your end goal is. I think it's really important. You don't just get into a car and drive. You have a destination in mind, right? You don't just start driving down the highway and then be like, oh, you know what? Let me go here. No, you get into your car saying, okay, I got to go to the grocery store. Okay, I got to go to my office. Real estate should be the same. Sit down, even spend 5 minutes after this podcast here. Think about, what do you want out of real estate? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this for retirement monies? Are you doing this to replace your income? Are you doing this just to make sure that you can feel comfortable and know that your bills are going to be paid at the end of the month? Write down what that's going to look like. Put numbers to it. Then start scaling intentionally. Don't just accidentally fall into a property of two, but go in intentionally saying, I bought this building with this type of financing with this budget because I know then I could get property number 2, property number 3, property number 4, multiply that by whatever to get to the end goal of replacing my $75,000 a year salary. Most people skip that step.
Exactly. And again, it comes down to that education or that mentorship or that person that's giving you a little bit, okay, let's go this direction, but putting down those goals. I absolutely agree with you. There, at this point in time, is there anything else that you'd like to share? I'd like to get your Facebook site. Let us know about that. And also anything else you'd like to share with our Sip, Sell, and Repeat. Oh, and by the way, I have this coffee cup for you. Can you see it?
Yes, I do.
Where is it? I have this coffee cup for you that I want to be able to mail off to you for coming on board and talking with us about it. So what are some anything that we missed or that you really want to share? What are some things that finish up with here?
I guess I have wrap up with this. If you're listening to this right now and you're considering either, and I don't even care if it's real estate investing, maybe it is becoming a full-time realtor, maybe it is just leaving a job that you don't like and moving into something completely unrelated to real estate investing. But take a few minutes, sit down, think about what it is that you're looking to get to, but then also think about what are the things that are stopping you from that. If you're a person that has been saying it's 2025 right now, if you've been saying that you wanted to buy a rental property for the past 9 years, sit down and think about what are the things that are stopping you. Is it the education? Is it the lack of confidence? Is it the fact that you don't feel like you have a plan, that you don't feel a strategy? Are you just scared? Write down what it is, because until you can identify what's stopping you, you're never going to be able to find a solution. And that's okay. Some people are going to continue to go the rest of their life either making excuses or saying that's the thing that they wanted, and they're never going to actually do it. But if you are ready now to say, I want to make a change, I'm willing, ready, and able to do something different to get a different outcome, then time to put on your big girl pants and let's make a change.
Oh, that is awesome to finish up with. I so appreciate you sharing your time with us today. And I'm going to be getting on that Facebook group. And is it Lady Landlords?
Yep.
It's just that Facebook group, right?
Yep. You can come and you can find us. Anyone that identifies as female is welcome to join. You can find us on Facebook. Just go and throw Lady Landlords into the search bar. And then anybody else, or if you want to connect with me also on Instagram, you can find me at the Becky Nova.
Your name, that's a pretty easy name too to remember.
That's what I thought. Thank you. I had to marry my husband for the last name, so you know.
Oh, okay. I do thank you again.
That's a wrap on this episode of Sip, Sell, Repeat. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another powerhouse woman in real estate. Got a topic you want me to cover? Send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep sipping, keep selling, and keep repeating that cycle of success. Cheers to you and your next big deal.